Good morning, everyone. This is Toastmaster Latif. Today, I'll be the acting Sergeant at Arms, and it's been a pleasure always to be in a meeting where we learn, we grow, and we show some of our potentials where we can really build ourselves for a better future. Now, this meeting is our academic. If I say Karachi Toastmasters second meeting, you'll be shocked, but this is Academy's second meeting where we normally have our education session and then followed by a test speakers and then the advanced evaluation. So that will be more into what we are going to learn. We always encourage to please keep on your cameras, mics on mute. If possible, whenever we ask, please do come and show your feedback so that we get encouraged. Whenever you see the flyers, distribute to as many as you can. Encourage everyone to join Toastmasters. And with this, I take your leave and I give this huge platform to our president, Toastmaster DTM Talha bin Hamid. DTM Talha bin Hamid.
Thank you so much and good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining the meeting. On a side note, the attendance in this meeting has matched the attendance in our main meeting. I don't know whether to laugh or cry about that, but for now I will celebrate. So thank you everyone, sincere gratitude for joining. And before we kick things off, we have a few guests, although they're not really guests, but still I'd like to give them the floor to introduce themselves. And the first guest is, of course, our area director, who is spying on us today. Toastmaster.
Okay, please.
Okay, hello. So what did I miss?
Did we get disconnected?
Yeah, I got disconnected. So till what part you guys heard me?
You did not. You were just about to introduce.
Yeah. So
first guest.
Yeah. So our first guest, who's not really a guest, is our area director, Toastmaster Aram. Toastmaster Aram, please introduce yourself to those who don't know you.
Assalamu alaikum, and this is me and my Mariam on the weekend. And I'm Area Director 1 under the leadership umbrella of our Division Director, Toastmaster Urusa. Today, I'm going to serve the role of evaluator. I belong to Express Toastmasters Club in Territory Council 122 and also a couple of clubs in District 105. Looking forward for a great meeting. Thank you for inviting me and making a part of this meeting.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mariam. Sorry, Toastmaster Aram. Sorry, the disconnection just threw me off a little bit. Anyhow, we have a very special guest from TCF Toastmasters, Toastmaster Ahmed. Toastmaster, please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Talha, for giving me to talk about myself. I am very excited to learn about today's session, and because you will be talking about the different type of speech and all that stuff. So looking forward for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ahmed. We have Kiran Fatma. Kiran, will you please introduce yourself?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kiran Fatma and I am student. I'm doing physiology and it's my 3rd year and 5th semester. So basically I am here because I need to improve my English and I am observing you guys. Inshallah, I will be a TCF or any Toastmaster member in future, inshallah. So I am just here to observe you and to learn from you. And inshallah, I will become a member.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. A very near future Toastmaster Kiran. We have Toastmaster Naseem Malik again from TCF. Toastmaster Naseem, would you like to introduce yourself? Toastmaster Naseem, can you hear me? Okay, no worries. We can come back to Toastmaster Naseem later. And now I have to hand over the charge to our Toastmaster of the day, who is to use one of the phrases that I absolutely loathe and despise, but everybody uses it anyway. So today I'll do it. The one and only, our division director, Toastmaster Urusa. Toastmaster Urusa, over to you.
Thank you so much, DTM Kala. So welcome everyone to another episode of the Academy. Today we will be having, obviously, another meeting of Academy. And in the Academy, we have two key sessions. That is the prepared speeches and the evaluations. And what do we not have? We don't have table topics and we do not have a theme. So basically you can get away with anything. There is no theme. So to start off, we have the first keynote speech, and that keynote speech is by none other than our president, DTM Tala. And the keynote, before that, we will be having our facilitators. And our first facilitator is the language or word master, Toastmaster Latif. So Toastmaster Latif, what is the role about? Toastmaster Latif, can you hear me? Moving on, the timer for today is DTM Tala. So DTM Tala, how would the timings be going?
Yeah, actually, so according to the format of the agenda, for the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. So they will be timed according to the format. As you can see, it will be the green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, red at 7 minutes. And of course, disqualification at 7:30. But since there's no voting today, I'm just hoping and praying to God that you guys stay on time. Secondly, there will be the evaluation, and that's where we differ slightly from the usual Toastmasters meeting. The first evaluation, which will be an instant evaluation, will be by the main evaluator, and it will be, again, as per usual, 2 to 3 minutes. So 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and 3 minutes. Then there will be a round of round robin evaluations, which will be 1 minute each. So everybody will have 1 minute to give commendations and recommendations. And then the speaker will give a 1 minute response to all the evaluations, commendations, and recommendations. So that will also be 1 minute. So for that, I don't plan to show all 3 cards because within 1 minute, it's ridiculous. I'll just show the red card when 1 minute is when 50 seconds start. So that way the speaker will know that, they should wind up. Other than that, of course, everything is as per usual. My keynote address will be 15 minutes with a 5-minute Q&A. So I'll request if anyone can time the keynote for 13, 14 and 15 minutes. That would be great. Other than that, that was my time. So over to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, DTM Tala. For our counter, we have T and Ali Ashar. So Toastmaster Ali Ashar, what is the role about?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Usa. Being the accounter, I am responsible for noting and keeping track of words and sound that are usually pause and fillers by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Word may be something in appropriate interjections such as and, well, but, so, like, etc. So at the end of the meeting, I am going to uh, uh, report the general evaluator about my notes. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Aliasher. And for the technical host, we have Toastmaster Latif or Toastmaster Kala. So which one of you is going to be our technical host for this?
I think I've already taken up the mantle by launching the meeting with the admin account. So what I'll do is that I'll just make Toastmaster Latif the co-host, and there's nothing to the technical host role except that we can kick people out if they misbehave. So that has yet to happen, but it looking forward, because it's very much fun. And then they ask you again that, you know, we want to log in again, but since they've been kicked out, they cannot log in again. So yeah, that's fun. But other than that,
and will we be having any voting?
No, we won't be having any voting. Yeah.
All right. So Toastmaster Latif, the last question: who is the language evaluator or the word master?
Good morning, everyone. As the language evaluator, it is more or similar to what we normally have the grammarians, but I would try and would look for the more different ways of expressing the languages. Like, for example, I will try to meticulously note down the grammatical errors or the good grammar usage in the sentences of the speakers or everyone over here who comes and decide to deliver their speeches, and followed by the evaluation. Along that, I have a role of word of the day, which is like I have to introduce the word of the day, and this is currently going with me. So I have decided the word of the day is ambiguous, and it means not clear or decided. And I'll give a few examples. The election results was ambiguous. We are ambiguous about our future, and so on. We can add it. So I will make note of each and every speaker who has used those words, and I will just share it on the chat box also. Thank you, and over to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Latif. And with that, all the facilitator roles are complete. And moving on, we have our keynote session, which will be 10 to 15 minutes. But as Etienne Tala said, he'll be taking 15 minutes, and then there will be a 5 minutes Q&A session. The topic of his speech is different types and styles of speech. Over to you, Etienne Tala.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Urusa. So different types and styles of speech. Lately, this has been one of the most prominent questions that I've been facing, and I'm sure.
Sorry, I'm stopping you. Who's timing you?
Actually, I've turned on the timer myself, so
right,
no worries. Yeah, no worries at all. So lately, I've been facing this question, and I'm sure everyone who's mentoring someone has faced this question at some point in time. That, you know, how should I speak? What kind of speech should I give? And this becomes even more important when it's contest season, as it is now, because in the contest, everybody wants to win, and they're just looking for things that will score well with the judges. And then they're also looking at championship speeches. So on a lighter note, somebody said, and I quote, about international speech contests, especially at Toastmasters final stages. You have to have 3 Ds in your speech if you want to have a good chance: death, disease, or divorce. So if one of these elements are in your speech, you have a very good chance. But the problem is that now everybody is doing it. So again, you have to set yourself apart. The truth is that there is no magic bullet. There's not one answer. Every contest is different. Every club audience is different. Every stage is different. And there's a different portfolio where So there's a different portfolio of thoughts and criteria in every judging panel. And there's absolutely no way to predict what they would fall for. So today, I will try to answer some of those questions, that what kind of speech suits what kind of occasion. And but the short answer is that, you have to be several people. You have to be several kinds of speaker if you really want to be a good speaker. You cannot stick to one type of speech. That's one thing I've learned. You have to suit the style of speaking to the content. There's also another very big question, and that is whether to stand and deliver like we prefer doing in speeches, or whether to just sit like this and just give a talk. So yeah, so first of all, I will cover the types of speech. And trust, let me give one caveat. This is just my experience. There is no such guide on the internet. There's no standard documentation in Toastmasters where you will find that, these are the types of speeches. So yeah, you can Google it and you'll find a lot of material, but this is purely my experience. And my experience comes from speaking in this club, in other clubs, and in international clubs, seeing the international contests, judging the international contests. So first of all, the tone. And several times when people have asked me for feedback, often I find myself giving them one advice, that make it more formal, make it more like a speech. It should not be a talk. So that's what I find myself the most saying to people. Because a speech is more formal, it has a beginning, a middle, and end. It has more dramatics. And sometimes those dramatics may not seem right to you. You would feel that, you're doing something artificial. But the answer to that is fake it till you make it. So yes, it will appear fake. When you try something new in a speech, it will appear fake and artificial because it's not the part of your standard arsenal of techniques. But you have to develop it. You have to grow into it until it feels absolutely natural. So there are speakers that you've seen who are very dramatic, but they appear perfectly natural. And then there are speakers like me who, whenever they go for dramatics, people feel that it's very much contrived and faked. So don't be bothered by it. That's the first thing. Don't be bothered by it. Don't hesitate just because you think that you'll appear artificial. Because if you keep hesitating, you'll never master the technique. Then there's the third kind of speech. So we've covered the dramatic speech and the formal speech. The formal speech is, of course, suited for formal occasions. When it's a research-based speech, or when it's a tribute to someone at a formal occasion. And we are not just talking about Toastmasters meeting here, okay? We're talking about real life. So of course, you will be hard pressed to give a Toastmaster style speech, for example, in your office. If there's a farewell party and you have to speak in someone's honor, of course, that speech, or worse, if it's an obituary or a funeral and you need to give a eulogy for the person, of course, it cannot contain humor, it cannot contain too much movement, because then it will not suit the occasion. So the hybrid style fits most of the occasions where most of the speech is formal and structured, but there are a few jokes, a few bits of audience interaction in between. So I find that that's the closest hack. That's the most easy hack. You can tick all the boxes on a contest ballot by doing a hybrid style speech. So you need to consciously work towards it. That you should look at the contest ballot and you should say, okay, this is where I introduce vocal variety. This is where I modulate my voice. This is where I move. And this is where I engage the audience. And this is where I try to make them laugh or smile. So you need to plan it. There's no shortcut to planning. And contest speeches in particular, no matter what stage they are, they go through months and months of trial and error. We ourselves have witnessed many international speakers who have visited our club just to practice their speech. And you've observed that they want feedback from everyone. Personally, I'm against taking feedback from everyone because that just confuses one. You should pick a few people and just take feedback from them. That's by no means to say that people's feedback is not good. That's just saying that our brain has the capacity to process only a few streams of feedback. If we try to please everyone, we'll end up with something that's tasteless and insipid. So I suggest to avoid doing that. Then there's a casual speech, and the casual speech is usually employed in table topics because table topics are very much structured around the table topics question. That what was the question that needs to be answered. So it can be formal, it can be casual, but you can get away with the casual style in impromptu speeches because you are not expected to plan it. In fact, it is even preferable in impromptu speeches that a casual style should be adopted. And then there's a talk, and the talk is actually something delivered in a conversational tone. It's not delivered in a speech tone. For example, if you take a sentence that was the worst moment of my life. So in a talk, you would come close to the camera and you'd say, that was the worst moment of my life. And in a formal speech, you would say, that was the worst moment of my life. So you recognize that style, right? So again, it's all about amplification. But the talk is usually something that is more intimate. It can be if you're telling your life story, if you're actually recounting something that really has a connection with the audience, you can afford to give a talk. The trouble is, though, that for some speakers, most of their speeches are talks. And that's something I feel that is not right. We should all be flexible enough to be able to cycle through all these styles according to the need of the speech. So moving forward, the types of speeches. Now, what I said earlier were the tones: dramatic, formal, hybrid, casual, and talk. And now the types of speeches. So first type is, of course, the story, which is the most popular type. And it is the sure shot way to score well with the judges in a contest or score well in the voting with the audience. Everything could be a story. Even if you think that you cannot incorporate a story in anything, trust me, you can. Even in a research-based project, if you can bring a story, and especially if that story has either death, disease, or divorce, then you're off to the races. So, so yeah, then there's a motivational speech. And I believe that is the most dominant type of speech that new Toastmasters make. Because they come into Toastmasters thinking that, I don't know why everybody wants to become a motivational speaker. For the life of me, I don't know what a motivational speaker is, or what sets them apart versus mere mortals like us. But anyhow, that's what most people care about when they come into Toastmasters. They want to become motivational speakers. They have been inspired by motivational speakers. So for them, the public speaking sphere is limited to motivational speaking. So that's where the motivational speech comes from. It is a formal speech that has a lot of quotes. And again, I have a lifelong animosity with people using other people's quotes. And that is something extremely personal because there's nothing forbidden in Toastmasters about it. But I feel that if you need to use someone else's words, especially the worst part, at the end of your speech, you're leaving the audience with someone else's words rather than yours. Why should someone else get the stage when you're on the stage? So by all means, use a quote, maybe at the start or to inform the body of your speech, but I don't think it's advisable that you end the speech with a quote or center the whole idea of your speech around the quote, because your life is yours. The person who said that quote, maybe they're 99% of the time they will be either Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos or Jack Ma or the other flavor of the month. And guess what? They live far different lives than yours. That one bit of their life that that quote represents, I mean, how can you say that's relevant to you or any of your audience? They've lived far different lives. Your story is unique, and your life is unique in the history of the universe. It will always be unique. So come up with your own words. Your words are more important than someone else's recycled quotes. And then there's the research kind of speech. So we've covered story, we've covered motivational, and then the research. So the research is, of course, when you're presenting a set of data, and it can be more serious, can be more formal, but my advice is to add a little bit of humor or drama to it, because it can get boring if the research topic is not of the interest to the audience, and 99% of the time it will be, because it would, if it were of the interest to the audience, then no research would be required. Audience would already know about it, right? So chances are that if you're really interested in something, the rest of the audience may not be relating to it. So it is your job to make it digestible to them. And that's why you need to be a little bit dramatic. So for example, a research-based speech, you can start with a sweeping statement. For example, some controversial statement that grabs the audience's attention, and then that makes them curious about the topic of the speech. And then there's an emotional speech. An emotional speech is kind of a motivational speech, but usually it comes from your life. So you're recounting your life story. You're recounting some tough time that you had in your life. You're recounting the life story of a beloved person that you lost. So usually those are the emotional speeches. And one of the very good examples of emotional speech would be the speech by Toastmaster Jaya Jaggi in the district speech contest finale last year. So that is a very good example. And that in an emotional speech, you can afford to act out quite a bit. You can take the role of different characters in the story. You can laugh, you can cry, you can represent them. So they give you a whole lot of margin. Finally, standing versus sitting. So my short answer to that is, if you plan to do more work with your face in the speech and your voice, then go ahead, sit and deliver. But if you want to use your whole body and you want to make a more formal speech where the voice should come from your chest and you could be more dramatic, then it's advisable to stand and deliver. So those are some of the tips that I've learned over the types of speeches and styles of speeches. And finally, the age-old question, whether to stand or sit for a speech. In the end, it doesn't really matter. But if you plan to use your face and voice more, and you need to be closer to the camera or you need to operate slides, you can sit. But for all other types of speeches, maybe it will be good if you stand, because your whole body will be used and your voice and demeanor will be different. Trust me on this. When you stand, it is another world. So with that, my allotted time is over. In fact, it was over 40 seconds ago, but since no one else was timing, I took advantage. So I'm once again setting the clock for 5 minutes. Anybody who has questions, please go ahead and ask.
It's not a question, just a comment, and something that I've learned, which I'll try to use in a half-cooked speech that I'm going to deliver today, is that you think at the beginning where you have to do modulation, where you have to change your tone, where you have to tell a story. So excellent, something that hit my head and a learning for me. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir. Actually, I have a question that most of the time, right now we are having very busy life. People really like this as far as the public speaking is concerned, delivering the speeches are concerned. Like I have been personally trying for more than 5 to 6 years to learn, but as you see, that couldn't be able to manage properly. So I would just like to ask that how can, like, definitely we should associate ourselves on a very valid platform to learn the things. But I would like to ask one question, that is there any 2 minute solution that if we are not able to take out time, like very in a very strict life, so how can we take out for only 2 minutes at least? We will be in the practice at least, so we can just do something better for public
Well,
speaking learning or for speech delivery.
okay. So first of all, if you're not able to take time out to craft a speech, uh, basically that time needs to be invested in your self-growth, right? So I would strongly encourage that, you should consider your timetable and you should set a fixed time that, for this 1 hour, I'll concentrate on writing a speech. So that way you will be able to do it. Especially if you have already booked a slot with the VP Education, trust me, you will do it. Well, that's the way I started, right? Fix a slot first and then work towards it, right? You'll have 3 or 4 days. You fix 1 hour. Secondly, maintain a book of ideas with you. It can be online or it can be hard copy. Note down anything interesting that you see. Any joke, any idea, any thought that comes into your head, just note it down. So that way you'll never be out of topics of speaking. When you start to sit down to write a speech, you'll never be out of topics. And thirdly, the most obvious solution, make sure you participate in table topics in every meeting. Oh, that's 1 to 2 minutes, right? So you'll never be out of practice. Or make sure that if you haven't prepared a speech, you take up a role in the meeting. Any role, an evaluation role, even a Big Four role, even the R counter role. Trust me, I've discovered that even if you do something like timer or R counter, it trains you to speak according to the requirements of the role. And it is very, very rewarding. So the short answer is find any opportunity to speak within a Toastmasters meeting, whether it's a role or it's a speech or it's table topics, and you'll keep in practice.
Got it.
So anyone else? We have 1.5 minutes.
I have one.
Sure.
So it's just since we have time, so I wanted to ask you, first of all the tips that you have given, it's just, they are amazing. I used to think that I'm good at communication, but soon after joining Toastmasters, I realized that how much I need to improve on myself. One thing that I wanted to ask was, I've been hearing about this feedback that has been often given to me about using the stage. And sometimes when I do tend to use the stage, it's distracting for people. I tend not to look at the camera. Obviously, I'm moving around. So I'm just a bit more, I'm not confused, but I would like a few words from you regarding this as well.
Okay. Yes, I know. I've seen it, that you have a style. And that style involves not looking at the camera for extended periods of time. So yeah, I get that. Everybody has a unique style. And I'm aware of no rules which says that you have to look at the camera for 100% of the time. But try to minimize those periods so that your connection with the audience is not lost, right? So it will come with time. You'll receive all sorts of feedback, and you should receive the feedback with one thought in your mind, that it won't be possible to incorporate all that feedback in your next project. It will take several weeks, right? So just note down the points, and only the points which appeal to you, which make sense to you, and then work on systematically addressing them speech by speech. There's no hurry to implement all the feedback in one go. And secondly, yes, about movement, it's a dilemma. The only answer is that you should carefully plan your movement. It should not be random. When you've got a big stage like you do, you should map out where you will be in which part of the speech. And trust me, that will work out for you. And one rule of thumb, which I violate quite a bit, is that train yourself not to speak while you're making the transition from one place to another. So if you're moving from the center to the left, try not to speak during that time. Yes, it will be tremendously difficult because the clock is ticking. But that is one thing that I've heard and trying to implement. But so with that, the question time is over. But you can if you have any other questions, please note them down in the chat box and I'll try to answer them. And with that, I hand over the charge to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Urusa.
Thank you so much, Deepan, for that session. And now we will be starting our prepared speech session. So today's prepared speeches, obviously our academy prepared speeches have a little something different. We will be having a speaker, then their lead evaluator, two evaluations after the lead evaluator, and a little feedback from the speaker at the spot. So our first speaker is Toastmaster Imran, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Adrian Rizvi. Toastmaster Adrian Rizvi, could you tell us what his speech is all about?
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. The speaker today is going to present his level 1, project 2, where he's going to do the second attempt of feedback and evaluation. And I wish him all the best.
So much. Over to you, Toastmaster Imran.
Thank you, Toastmaster Iram and Arusa. So let me start. So I would never assume that everyone here has all their financial needs met, because I think our reach is too broad for that. However, I typically make two assumptions when I talk about money. And that's the topic, of course. One is that there are more people who have their financial needs met than they think they do. You see, in our society, needs are constantly revised upwards. What is need today used to be luxury not that long ago. Take your cell phone, for example. And the second assumption that I'm going to make today is that minimalism provides financial flexibility to those who choose it. When we remove ourselves from the pursuit of possessions, material possessions, we find happiness in the long run. And that is, in a sense, what's called minimalism, which provides benefits both in the short term and the long run. So what I wanted to talk about today, based on these two assumptions, is about how money can buy happiness. Not based on conjecture, based on science. There's a fascinating article I read a few days ago, and it's basically researchers from advances in experimental social psychology from University of Harvard and other universities as well. They have identified that once your needs are met, acquiring or striving to acquire more possessions does not add to happiness in the long run. And a very systematic study, by the way, if anyone wants it, I'll share the link with you after the session. They have identified 4 of them very useful and 1 not very useful, but I mean, in a negative way, unuseful. So those 3 items, interestingly so, the 2 of them are obvious and might not surprise you, but I assure you the third one will definitely take you by the blow. So how do you acquire happiness? how do you purchase happiness actually? Number one, buy experiences. Going to the zoo, watching a cricket match live in the stadium, dining out with someone, or just having a casual get together with your friends. These kind of activities brings a positive feelings even before consumption, during consumptions, and long after consumption. The second item on the list is pro-social activities. Call it charity, buying dinner for a friend, or purchasing a gift for someone who you care about. Those are the things that I mean, I can go on, but and the list in the article as well is long, but just to these are the cherry on the top only. It enhances social connectivity, provides opportunity to make relationships, promote well-being and autonomy. The results are endless. The third item, which surprises most of the people, but makes so much sense, is to buy time. Whether it be even paying someone to take a leave, or having your food delivered at your house, or taking food delivered at your house, and even, I'm sorry, I've just missed the catch point in that moment in time, but it's just even the purchasing a house nearby your workplace basically reduces time, and the research shows very aptly that it's not only the experience that you buy brings happiness, but it's also removal of negative experiences that buys happiness. And that's something that I found very profound, and it has a lot of value. So there you go. These are the three things I think money can buy and prolongs happiness and longevity. Just to repeat: purchasing experiences, pro-social activities, and buying time. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran, and I'd like to invite Toastmaster Iram for her evaluation. Toastmaster Iram, are you there? Toastmaster Iram, are you there?
Hello. Sorry, I got
Hello.
my audio got. I couldn't hear. Can you please repeat?
I said I'd like to invite you for the lead evaluation.
So we are doing an immediate evaluation.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Just give me 10 seconds.
Okay. Fair enough.
Whereas psychometric test.
The thing is, the thing with hijabis is that we get pretty much relaxed very soon, and then we have to run back to get our hijabs. So just let me settle 1 second. My apologies. I wasn't aware that it was an immediate evaluation. So I'm going to give it a shot right now. All right. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, I think if it is a bit higher. Let me take it up. All right. So thank you so much. Timer, can we start now?
Yes, you can start.
I could not agree with my speaker today, because if I show you a round of my home, every corner has a story, and I'm far, far off from being a minimalist. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, it's my lifelong dream that somebody gets into my house and says, oh, it is so simple, yet so beautiful. No, I come from that generation that believes that more things show more value and more things show life. And for me, the things that belong to me from my childhood, I would still have it somewhere and make sure that I give it to my grandchildren. So dear fellow Toastmasters, we all got connected with him, either by agreeing or by not agreeing. And that's the power, beauty of a speech, that it should be related to you, whether you go with it or you don't go with it. And while he was doing that speech, I was looking behind him and thinking, he looks like a minimalist because he hardly had stuff behind him. I had to corner myself literally at a place so that you don't see what is in the background. But he was living what he was saying. So my dear speaker, I like your setting. I love the fact that you had less things in the background to distract the audience. You were focused, you were standing. I like your setting. I like the way you set up a stage, because that connected with the story that you were saying. Secondly, what I like was that you were taking pauses. You were emphasizing on not doing ahs and ums, and I could see it clearly. There is an effort that we put while speaking, and we take pauses and think clearly while delivering our words. And we do that effort when we want to be least in trying to bring the filler words. And I could notice that, and I appreciate that effort put by the speaker. The third thing I really like about him was that he had a very simple content, and we were all connected to it. I love the fact that, again, it is related to my opening of my speech today, that he was related to us. It was a topic which was not out of the book. It was not something that was too scientific, too out of, or too much connected to his workplace. It was something that we all could relate to. So thank you so much, my dear speaker, for doing that. 2 recommendations for him. Dear speaker, try to not clap your hands. I will give you short advice. Don't clap your hands. Try avoiding that. Open up. When you open your hands and speak, you're taking out your volume from your stomach. You speak from heart. Practice it. I couldn't do it till 2 levels. So I would say just try practicing by not clapping your hands. Number 2, never say sorry. Never ever say sorry. If you have forgotten your words, leave it. The only place you would say sorry is when I did not know that I had to do an evaluation, but never say sorry. All in all, I enjoyed how you set your background. I enjoyed the love. I love the fact that your content was relating. Please just work on not clapping your hands and never say sorry between your speech. Looking forward for more from you, Toastmaster Imran.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Iram. And now I'd like to call Toastmaster Najam Rizvi for the first round robin recommendation.
Thank you, Toastmaster Urusa. A wonderful speech. I really agreed with all the points. I'm some sort of a minimalist myself. The advice that I would like to give is that he seemed underprepared. Just before you said you apologized, I noted down that this speech was underprepared. And then you said, I'd forgotten, and you just reinforced what I was thinking. So you need to prepare. You have a casual style, a great style, but sometimes it slows down a bit too much, and the audience may begin to lose interest. So just my recommendation would be to prepare a little more, because that will really add great value to your speech. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Najam. And for the second recommendation, I'd like to call Toastmaster Latif.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. My dear Toastmaster Imran Chaudhary. My recommendation for your speech is first of all, I would, as I know how much you are attached with the Toastmasters. So keep trying and keep delivering your projects. You are doing amazing. But this is what you have chosen, a Saturday Academy. So you will have a lot of hearing. I'm sorry. Now, we keep saying purposeful movement, and we have heard from DTM Talha also what is purposeful movement. And there were a lot of moments in your speech when you said there is a house, there is someone delivering, and purposeful movement will not be like you are moving. You can move your eyes, or you can show us. You can take it through us to that, with your hands. It's just like, you can add this as a gesture also, as a purposeful movement. Audience awareness is always there with you. I love that. So whenever you are saying, even if it's buying a home, how come just make a gesture, and it will make a great impact. It will add a moment of, the meaningful pauses also, when we will know you are creating a house. And that is all what I would like to add. Thank you, and good luck for everything.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Latif. And lastly, the round robin commendation from myself. Mr. Imran, are you there? You seem frozen. Yeah, he's not there. Let's wait for him to come back before I give my commendation.
I think, Toastmasters, maybe you can continue. And
right.
Since this is being recorded anyway, so.
All right.
Yeah.
So Toastmaster Imran, he had a very relatable topic. I feel it was something, minimalism is very relatable. A topic on finance is very relatable. So these topics tend to pull in audience, and these topics, so it is a good thing to come up with topics that the general audience can relate to. Second thing was his composure, which was a real upgrade from the last speech. He was standing in one place. He had his hands clasped almost in a steeple, but that was a real upgrade from the last speech. And while speaking, he had a prominent smile throughout his speech. It was right, it was there, and he was speaking with that throughout his speech. It was there. So these 3 points were really good in his speech, and he should continue with these. He can obviously get better with the composure, but these things should continue with his speech. So these are my commendations for him. So since we don't have Toastmaster Sidra with us, so there wouldn't be a commendation for this second commendation for this speech. However, for the next speech, I'd like someone else to take Toastmaster Sidra's place, because she has another recommendation. Anyone else who would like to volunteer?
I think we can ask Toastmaster Azam to take up the commendation. Yeah.
No, it's a recommendation.
Sorry, that's recommendation. Yeah.
Toastmaster Azam, would you like to give a recommendation to our next speaker? We can't hear you, Toastmaster Azam. It's not clear. No voice.
You're not clear, Toastmaster Azam. Can you speak up again?
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I was saying that I was previously here in the office and I didn't listen your first sentence. So kindly repeat your first sentence.
No. Yeah, okay. So for the next project, you will. We are asking you to do 1 minute recommendation when you're called. So 1 minute about your improvement areas that you can offer to the speaker for the next speech.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Azam. So our next speaker is Toastmaster Naveed Aslam, and his lead evaluator is Toastmaster Hiba Reis. Toastmaster Hiba, could you tell us what his speech is all about?
Yes, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. TM Naveed Aslam is doing a 5 to 7 minute speech, I suppose, because it's not there in the agenda. And I'm new to this advanced thing, so please, everyone help me out. And
it is there in the agenda, and no, you're not new to this.
really, I did not see. Maybe I've overlooked. I'm so sorry. Okay.
No worries. No worries. Go ahead.
And wait a minute, just sorry. I can see, okay, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now, TM Naveed Aslam is doing Pathways Dynamic Leadership Level 2, Understanding Your Leadership Style, title Leadership, and the duration of his speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And there are two objectives of his speech. The first one is the purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. And the second one, the purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. And I had to ask one more thing, that would I be giving the evaluation immediately after the speech, just like TM Hiram? Okay, thank you. So over to TM Naveed Aslam. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you, TM Hiba. First of all, I was ambiguous till midnight that if I'll be able to deliver this speech, but as DTM Tala said, we just commit it and rest all happens. So we all know various theories of leadership. Leadership styles and the qualities that a leader should have. They should be DTM Tala, I mean, excellent communicators, open-minded, optimistic even in the darkest days. They lead by example, and they should have a very high level of personal integrity. The most important part of a leader is that they deal with people. They inspire people. They change the behavior of people. And they make them think differently to achieve larger objectives. Having said that, whenever we think about leadership or leader, we always have big names, big personalities who have made an impact in society, on people, or per se on our world. But this is not always the case. If we look around ourselves, we'll find a lot of people who made an impact on us, on me, on you, on several people. They are also leaders. For example, if I give you my own example, I can say safely that I always follow my father as a model of personal integrity. One of my late aunt is an extreme example of perseverance, and despite the lifelong challenges, she remained optimistic and did super great acts of selflessness, which inspired me a lot. We can also ask questions to ourselves. Are we role model for our children? Are we leaders for them? And are we doing enough for them to follow us? Not just because we are their parents, Do we walk the talk? We can ask questions to ourselves. Are we or can we the role model for them, for our children, or for the little family that we all have? Not because that we are parents or we are elders, because do we walk the talk? Do we inspire? If we look at ourselves, I'm fairly sure that most of us have different styles. When dealing with family, when dealing with kids, when with our friends, or when we're sitting in our formal corporate roles. While the underlying personality will not change, the style does. That's where the situational kind of leadership comes in. So you have to cater yourself with the situation. While this is all theory, let me map some big names with the kind of leadership. Think of Qaeda, a transformational leader, a democratic leader, but at some point in time, authoritative as well, when need be. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, the people who nurtured creativity, the people who have changed the world with their thoughts and creativity. Think about Winston Churchill. Having said that, there's one thing which I think was new to me, and it inspires me a lot, that is called level 5 leadership. I've read a book which is called Good to Great, and that's where I learned about the concept, what that level 5 leadership is. That level 5 leadership is where you make a company from just good to great, and these are not the people who were larger than life celebrities, and I never knew those people till the time that I learned that book. And those people have some attributes. They have extreme humility. They were people like plow horse and not the show horse. They have compelling modesty. So for us to be the leader, we have to have characteristics which can inspire. So every one of us can be a level 5 leader or a leader. We just need to realize it. We all are leaders. It's about inspiring people. It's about integrity. It's about walk the talk and building trust. Let's start from scratch and let's be a level 5 leader for our good ones first. Not because you are parent or you are elder and demand respect, but earn the knighthood by becoming a role. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Naveed. And I'd like to call Toastmaster Naveed's lead evaluator, Toastmaster Hiba, to give her evaluation.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters, and yes, DM Naveed spoke about a very dynamic and ever-evolving subject. Leadership is something, which we can all see playing different roles. Leadership is something which we can all see having an impact in different institutions, whether educational or offices. Leadership is something which gives, life to a team as well. And leaders, okay. As for the speech, during the time you spoke, I could find absolute clarity in the way you spoke, clarity and confidence. You had good eye contact because I constantly found you looking at the camera, and you had good gestures since you were standing up, and I could see at least half of your body, from your body gestures to your hand gestures. And the audience were quite aware about the facts and figures that you were talking about in your speech. You demonstrated a very good amount of comfort level, like I've mentioned earlier in the conference. And the speech that I thought that you had spoken in front of us was very interesting because it had relevant facts and figures to what we are all aware about in the leadership and practical world. And I thought that, however, there was some area of improvement. You could have, incorporated vocal variety, and emphasize that vocal variety in certain aspects of your speech to, bring more depth and interest. And I thought that share some aspect of leadership style. You could have demonstrated, I don't know, a bit of more relevant, more elaborate style of leadership in your speech. That was what I was thinking. And apart from that, other than that, the entire speech was very good. It was well rehearsed, and you spoke well. Thank you.
So much, Toastmaster Hiba. For the first round robin recommendation, Toastmaster Rabia. Toastmaster Rabia is there. Oh, she got disconnected. Okay, Toastmaster Azam. Please go ahead with your recommendation.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Naveed Aslam. And listening you today remind me our speech contest of evaluation, in which you were the test speaker and you delivered an amazing speech. And all the contestants were in trouble at that time. And same thing you did today for myself. The best thing I like in your speech is actually that you were speaking from your heart, from your inside. It's not like you are reading something. Actually, you are speaking from inside. That's why you have a good vocal variety and good gestures in your speech. As far as the area of recommendations are concerned, I would recommend that these are minor. Actually, you had a repeated gesture of this. Okay, so I suggest that you should avoid it. And second, you are reading from your tags. So actually, that were disconnecting you from the audience. I would suggest you to stick your tags on the screen. Like, I am having a paper on my front, but you can't feel that I have something on my front. And the third one is that movement. Sometimes you have abrupt movement. So these are the 3 suggestions. Overall, that was a wonderful speech, and looking forward for your future speeches as well. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Azam. And for the next recommendation, Toastmaster Ravi.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Urusa. Toastmaster Naveed Aslam, amazing speech today and a great topic. I really love. I always want to learn more about this topic. Very few, I think only one recommendation, because you haven't had a very good evaluation by TM Hiba and by TM Azam also. I feel that because we are doing it on Zoom and online, make sure that the camera angle is. I did not like the camera angle. That's all I have to say about it today. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rabia. For the round robin commendation, Toastmaster Imran Chaudhary.
Thank you, TM Arusa. So first of all, TM Naveed, let me just start off by saying that you have a very natural disposition and demeanor of a leader yourself. Your facial expressions, your body language spoke loudly that you are a person of authority. And I don't want to repeat what everyone has said already, because I do agree with most part of it. But I would encourage you at one stage, especially, that whenever you are, I mean, it can be subjective, but whenever you are delivering a speech on motivational skills or leadership itself, it's extremely important to transfer the energy. And I'm sure it won't be very difficult for you to use your tenacity. What a leader who is speaking to their soldiers should do. I think that should be incorporated, and that would make the speech, which was obviously amazing, to another level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran. The last recommendation, Toastmaster Latif.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Urusa. My target speaker, Toastmaster Naveed. You brought everything which I always look into the speaker. The values, which I really liked it. You made us look into ourselves, the good usage of the vocabulary, and the character, what we want to build and what we want to see in the kids. So I loved each and every moment. And I feel you should have the speech available for your contest also. Because if you deliver the way you actioned it, I'm sure there is no one else coming second closer enough to you. So you can deliver a best speech to this because it has everything. As I said, values, you made us see into ourselves, a good usage of vocabulary, and the character. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Latif. And I'd like to call the speakers now for their bits. So first of all, Toastmaster Imran, your feedback or rejoinder on whatever you've heard.
Yes, thank you, Team Arusa. First of all, again, apologies. Although I have been given a feedback, not use apologies, but I was disconnected, so it was due. So I could not hear the feedbacks, complete round of feedbacks, but from what I gathered, I think it made complete sense. First of all, I did try to allot time to prepare the speech, but at the end I couldn't finish the job, and that was apparent. So that I know I need to work on, but it's mostly about the previous evaluator speech that I presented that helped me here as well. And I think this is another stage of feedback that will elevate me to another level. So thank you so much for everyone. And I think I have noted down the feedbacks. That's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran. And for the next feedback, I'd like to call Toastmaster Naveed.
Sorry, Team Rusa, are you calling me?
Yes, yes, Toastmaster Naveed.
Oh, okay, okay. So first of all, thank you very much. I renewed till midnight yesterday if I'll be able to deliver the speech. And I was going to bed, so I just noted down a couple of purchase, and I thought that yes, I'll try to do it. And hearing the DTM Tala in the morning actually revitalize everything. What he said, I thought this is for me. So I don't know what I honestly what I the words that I've used, I don't know, because these are the only 4 purchases that I have. But the important thing is, previously when we had a meeting with I think some Indian club, where Tala mentioned that in order to practice, you have to actually think a lot and any set style. So that one tip and the tip that I got today is just on time, and then I deliver whatever I could. So that's it from my side, and I think it went well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Naveed. And I think that wraps up the entire prepared speech session for today. It was really wonderful listening to all the speeches and all the evaluations. And now I'd like to call Toastmaster Rabia for her general evaluation session. She's the general evaluator for today. So over to you, Toastmaster Rabia.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Urusa Kaval. Evaluation. The evaluation session is the session I really look forward to in every meeting. In the words of Dr. Ralph Smedley, no Toastmaster club is fulfilling its obligation to its members unless it brings them the maximum of training in the art of constructive criticism. Evaluation is the heart of experiential learning, and which is what distinguishes Toastmasters from other organizations who are in the same field. Those who receive the evaluation grow as speakers and communicators and leaders. And believe me, those who give the evaluations, we learn a lot for all the areas of life. I would like to now call our facilitators for today to give their report. So first of all, we have the timer, DTM Talha.
Yes, okay. First of all, my keynote speech was within 40 seconds over time. No, sorry, 10 seconds over time, keeping in view the 30-second grace period. The Q&A session went overboard a little bit. We started the meeting a little bit, and that's the time lag you see versus the agenda. All the speakers and the facilitators and the round robin evaluators, they were well within time. Because if you consider that they have to give a 1-minute feedback, and again, you give them a grace period of 30 seconds. So that means they're all well within time. So that was my report.
Thank you so much, DTM Talha. For our next role, I would like to call TM Aliashar Anjum. He was the accountant today.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rabia. So my report is starting from the Toastmaster of the day to Toastmaster Urusa Kaval. She used only 2 hours. General Evaluator Toastmaster Rabia only used 1 hour yet. And our timer DTM Talha, during his timing session, he used 4 hours and 1 hours. During the education session, DTM Talha 14 hours, 2 hours, 4 so, and 3 you know. Our first speaker, Toastmaster Imran Chaudhary, 7 hours, and 1 so and 3 I mean. Our second speaker, Toastmaster Naveed Aslam, 2 hours. Then during our advanced evaluation, Toastmaster Hiram Rizvi, no filler words. Toastmaster Najam, 1 hour. Toastmaster Urusa covered 1 hour. Toastmaster Iba, 4 hours. Toastmaster Rabia during her evaluation, 2 hours. Toastmaster Azam, 1 hour. Toastmaster Imran Chaudhary, 3 hours, 1 and 1 so. And Toastmaster Latif, no filler words. And that's all from my side. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, TM Aliashar Anjum, for that detailed report. Now we have our language and master and word master, TM Latif Toastmaster.
Thank you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Rabia. I graciously accept the academy meeting. And when we get a role such as like a grammar, it is work easy for being in a Karachi Toastmasters club. Mainly because when the speakers are so talented and they use such nice words or sentences to hook the audience, it makes that, though they are very true to their heart that they haven't practiced much, but they have a lot of knowledge because they do read books and they are the wisdom actually. So few things which I loved in the sentences was the optimistic in the darkest stages. Do we walk the talk? And a lot of phrases which was used in Imran Chaudhary's speeches also. I loved each and every moment. When I say I love, there is a moment of disappointment also because I'm the word master and nobody has used this word of ambiguous. And that is the only saddest part for me on my role. Other than that, I love the meeting, keep progressing. I love one thing which I always take away from every meeting. And this one is one of the best. The moment when DTM Talha started his speech, he used few sentences which really hooked us. Formal, okay, make it as a formal, or if you're just giving a presentation, dramatic. Please use everything in this. And the vocabulary, what you have added today, both the speakers, Toastmaster Imran and Toastmaster Navid, it has helped us a long way. Thank you very much for having us enrich with the words you have used, and loved every moment of it. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Latif, for that detailed language assessment. My review for the meeting as a journal evaluator, we started pretty much on time. According to my clock, it was only 3 minutes late. So that's a great achievement in any club if we start on time. So kudos to that, to all the members who were present here and all the facilitators. Our distinguished Toastmaster Talha is always really great at welcoming guests and make them at ease. And he did that today also. As our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Urusa Kawal, I always love the way you are so calm. And when you talk, you make me feel calm at also. I am a very excited person, and I'm very excited when the meeting is started. But when you talk, I just calm down a bit when you start speaking. So thank you for that tone and for that calming and soothing voice. All the role players explained their roles meticulously. Although TM Latif, you seemed a little ambiguous when you were explaining your role and the word of the day. We had a wonderful education session today. One of the things which I have very difficulty, styles of speaking, because I feel I am good at one and I cannot just transition into any other type of speeches. So thank you for that, DTM fella. Fake it till you make it. So I'll try to do that now. We had amazing speakers today, and they were evaluated equally amazingly. And for me, the highlight of today's meeting was the evaluation by our guest, Toastmaster Iram Rizvi, because I learned a lot about evaluation today. She gave the evaluation in such a manner. It was really what constructive criticism is all about. And I really lack in that. So I'm glad I was today and I witnessed it. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Iram Rizvi, for that evaluation and for making it clear for us that how we can be so kind and so generous even when giving recommendations and commendations. So thank you so much. Amazing session today. Great meetings. I'm glad I am part of this education session. Back to you, our president, I think, Toastmaster Talha.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rabia and everyone else. I believe we've talked about this previously too. We were in a race to be the #1 club in the world last year, and for 10 months we succeeded. This year things are a little different, and we find that a lot of clubs are, to put it mildly, cheating. So on that score, so perhaps we are still contemplating on the XCOM level whether it's even worth to pursue that goal anymore. But at the same time, it's not just about numbers. And I believe today, the second meeting of Academy and what happened today, that puts our club right there at the top in terms of club quality. There's nothing to beat it. And that has only come from the quality of the speeches today and the quality of the evaluators. Remember, all were extempore evaluations, and yet they were so amazing to watch. And of course, the message to the speakers is that, to quote Hassan Minhaj, if you look closely enough, everything secretly sucks. So don't look closely enough, okay? Don't disclose the details of preparation of your speech. Don't say sorry, because you know what? We are just there to listen to you. And we don't really want to know. We want to maintain that illusion that you work for weeks on that speech and you crafted every word, because that's the illusion all speakers like to give all the other listeners. So you guys are no different, okay? In the end, what gets delivered and how sincere it is, that's all that matters. Not how many hours of preparation went into it. it's not a defining factor. I'm not saying that you shouldn't prepare. Of course, you should prepare. I always advocate that the speech should be written first, no matter how confident you are in the topic of the speech. But even saying so, I would still say that what matters is what comes out before the audience rather than anything else. So no need to share too much detail with the audience. So we had very special guests today, and I would like to invite DTM Zed, our first ever program quality director for this district and a distinguished Toastmaster, our champion speaker, of course, area director. DTM Zed, your thoughts, although you joined during the evaluation session, but still, you can give your thoughts.
Thank you, DTM Talab. And I'm not feeling well. That's why I won't be speaking for hours. So bear with me for 1 hour only. And I really enjoyed the evaluation session. I have joined late, and I would try to join early next academy. And it's a good initiative, and KTCs are a mother club, and it is raising the bar every year, and it's good to see that you all are putting in efforts, because in Toastmaster there are few members who are putting a lot of time and efforts, and I know your meetings are also in a duration term longer than other clubs. So you are giving an opportunity to the members to listen to others patiently, and that's the quality missing around the world. So I congratulate every member, and also EC and all the leadership and members who have joined today and in our regular. So my prayers and my support is with you, and I wish I could join these academy session oftenly. Back to Talab.
Thank you so much, DTM Zed. We are thoroughly grateful for your presence and your feedback. And as I announced earlier, the academy session is open to all clubs. So we'd be more than happy if you come here next time around to deliver either a keynote or a speech or an evaluation. You're more than welcome to do so, because you will always be part of KTC. A mother never leaves its children, and the little renewal thing doesn't really matter with people like you, because you've given so much to KTC, and you'll always be part of the KTC family. Toastmaster Iram Rizvi, our area director, what is your feedback?
I am impressed with your creativity. I love the way how the agenda has been set. I love the way that I, for once, was confused where what is coming. So this means there is new stuff. There is still area to learn. And that's what, once you cross 3 years in Toastmasters, and for me, it was always about new things, new project, new people, new club, new challenges. So now I see that this is something amazing. It's different. Seasoned Toastmasters, new Toastmasters, everybody should come here because you're on the same level. You're trying to get extra recommendations. I would love to do a speech. I would love to do a speech here and get so many views, because it would be such a long time that somebody would evaluate me without fearing that I'm on a position. So it would be nice to be here, and congratulations for setting up this club. This is an amazing thought. I'm impressed. Thank you so much for making me a part of it.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Iram. And of course, it goes without saying that you're most welcome to deliver either an educational keynote or a speech or an evaluation anytime. So just get in touch with both of you, DTM Zed and Toastmaster Iram, and anyone else. Please get in touch with Toastmaster Imran, our VP Education. And since this happens fortnightly, and we always have a slot for 1 education session and 2 speeches, so we should be able to accommodate you. Area Director Toastmaster Azam, what about your feedback? I hope we made your day in the office a little bit better.
Thank you very much. Well, that was this is amazing actually. That was an academy session I watched on the WhatsApp, and I was thinking, why it's academy? But after watching it, after attending it, I believe that it's really an academy, because there is a lot of learning in this session, and I love to join this session again. And there are so many evaluation. I think that if someone want to learn the art of evaluation, then the Toastmaster Academy is the best place to join. And this is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you did amazingly well with your extempore. I mean, you were assigned the role all of a sudden, and you did amazingly well. You squeezed a whole 3-minute evaluation into that 1 minute. So hats off to you. Before we end the meeting, I'd just like someone very special, because they have just signed up to be our member. Toastmaster Farjad. Toastmaster Farjad, what's your feedback about today's meeting? Toastmaster Farjad, are you there? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum. Hello. Are you listening me?
Yes, of course.
Hello. Okay. Assalamualaikum to all of you. Thanks for being a part of this wonderful group. And I'm very thankful to all of you to select me as your mate in this group and be the part of this team. So great session from your side today. And I have learned a lot from here. And that's it. And inshallah, it will be very helpful for me in future regarding speaking and learning about these sessions and awareness regarding what's going on in our society. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Farjad. Before we say goodbye, I just want to do a special recognition. First of all, this poster for the Academy session today. I think Toastmaster Latif, Toastmaster Farjad, I'm addressing the audience in general. So you
got it.
No worries. So this poster, Toastmaster Latif, I think this is your best poster that I've seen. You have outdone yourself. It is beautiful and it is brand compliant. So congratulations. Secondly, this agenda, Toastmaster Latif, is it by you or by Imran?
Toastmaster Imran.
So I urge everyone to have a look at the agenda and its formatting. And this is from Toastmaster Imran, who never touched a PowerPoint before, I think 2 months ago. He just got into making the agenda this time. He developed some interest in it. So the way he has formatted it, the way he has set it up, I mean, it's beautiful. Yes, I know I developed this template, but it is better than anything that I've done. So Imran, you are not here today. I mean, of course, Alhamdulillah, you are with us, but you are busy in a training session. So still, I would like to record this recognition. This is absolutely beautiful. And again, more importantly, it is branding compliant as well. So this is absolutely amazing. And this shows the effort that was put in preparation of this meeting. I'm thoroughly grateful to everyone. I believe we have set something in motion that we didn't know the magnitude of before we took the initiative. So mashallah, so many attendants today, so many members attending today. It fills my heart with joy and at the same sadness, because today's attendance exceeded our Wednesday meetings attendance. So again, it's a dilemma. It's an ambiguous kind of happiness that whether to celebrate or not. But again, we are the kind of people who always try new things, our XCOM, and we don't really care. I mean, if something works, it works. We don't really care. If something works for our members, if something results in improvement of their experience, that's all that counts. Other numbers, every number is secondary. So I'm thoroughly grateful to everyone. And with this, I declare the meeting closed, but I'm stopping the recording. Anyone who wants to share